Welcome to episode 42 of Rebirth Revolution. My name is Melissa Olson. We talked last week about how each soul must progress through the different grade levels and the lessons they contain, moving from the lowest grade levels, where no expression of evil is off the table, all the way through the master's degree, where one is left with nothing but love and compassion for themselves and others. We talked about the average number of lifetimes that this takes to achieve being 9 or 10. We talked about those who have perpetrated atrocities in our Earth schools past being back here after leaving the planet at the lower levels and being here to continue their climb. Well, some are climbing and some are firmly planted in their low level without a desire yet to abandon their post. We are becoming increasingly aware of the gaps that exist in this school at the current time. We are aware that there is a wealth gap that is ever increasing. I have read that currently 2 people in the United States hold as much wealth as 50% of the population combined. We are aware of the earning gap with a big disparity between what white males are paid and everyone else. We are aware of the gap of opportunities. We are aware of all the gaps that can be categorized as all the different isms. And here is another gap that is going to make life more difficult: the gap in spiritual awareness. Right now, there are many people who are recreating the roles played by people who have done horrific things in our history. Remember, there are no awful movements that were done by a handful of people. Each awful thing was carried out by larger groups. Many awful actions were perpetrated by large organized groups. Each person who carries out an evil deed, even if instructed to do so by their government, is dragging their soul backwards and purchasing courses that require the recreating of sad and unconscionable events. This is the concept of karma. Everything that you put out there reveals your level of understanding. If that understanding displays gaps in awareness, then you are ordering up a course that will teach you what you do not understand. If you choose wisely, like choosing compassion, you will be on the receiving end of compassion when you most need it. If you choose cruelty, then you will be on the receiving end of cruelty. Those who bring evil into the world will create more evil and more misery. Those who are doing the right things and sticking up for what is right are choosing to grow in their spiritual awareness. Their move forward is happening as others are moving dramatically backwards. The gap is real, and it is problematic for all of us. The fact that our current administration is giving the green light to all forms of corruption, greed, and cruelty has given us the opportunity to see how many people were just waiting for an opportunity to do the backstroke to a lower level of spiritual awareness. Every single choice made by every single participant changes their grade level of spiritual awareness and sets up the lessons that they need to fully understand what they have chosen to do. If you take a child from a parent and put it in a cage, you have purchased the course that will put you on the other side of the transaction. Something will now have to happen to your child or a child that you love so that you can fully understand that the person you took the child from has no less love and attachment to their child than you have to the children you love. You are choosing to visit misery on yourself and your family, either in this lifetime or another. Your evil choice will not just affect you, it will draw into it someone who you love. The destruction you bring about will have to be shown to you in your own life. Remember, no one gets away with anything. Evil creates more evil. Good creates more good. Our current conditions are forcing people to choose a side. Before understanding how the system works, we thought that a sweet and innocent baby became the face of evil because of what their parents did. But not all of these stories line up. Children are not a pure reflection of their parents, either for good or bad. Each child comes here at the spiritual awareness level that their soul has achieved in previous lives. Each child comes here with lessons to learn and wrongs to right. No two children in the same family are the same in this regard. So since these are the same people who in previous lives committed atrocities, we can understand this as a part of their trajectory that they did not grow past. Many who are capable of cruelty and hatred do not grow past it in one lifetime. They live out their dark lives without ever coming to see the error of their ways or to grow to a higher level where they would no longer see darkly. Being punished while still in this school is not in any way an indicator of whether the person has grown to a higher level and therefore would not be capable of doing the exact same thing again. Most people who have their errors pointed out to them do not feel that they are, in fact, wrong. For most at low levels, the act of accountability for their actions leaves them feeling victimized and misunderstood. Accountability is not victimization. The fact is that they are the ones who don't understand. Often those who have lived dark, low-level previous lives will seek out materials that reignite the thoughts and feelings they experienced the last time they were in this school. These materials will still seem reasonable and like the truth to them. It will likely lead to them acting out in a manner that is just as dark and ugly, though the circumstances may be different as the school is operating at a higher level than when they were last here. As we see all around us right now, those who choose to see darkly cannot be dissuaded by logic or even kindness. They are hell-bent on staying in the energy stream that their dark thoughts and actions provide. They not only do not want to step into the light, they are compelled to spread the darkness. I wish there was some easy formula to dealing with this, but there isn't. We just need to be clear on who we're dealing with and protect ourselves from what they feel driven to do. And most importantly, we need to be able to read the signs these dark souls give us and refuse to give any power or influence to any of them. We cannot let anyone lead us backwards into their darkness. History is never over. People are never over. It would be nice if evil was a one and done, but that's not how the system works. Everyone must live lives until they reach the highest levels of spiritual awareness. In the days of American slavery, all one needed was white skin and a penchant for cruelty to become boss. Our culture is slowly moving away from that reality, which displaces many who do not have any other skills to offer up. So those people must find another avenue, and growing to a higher level isn't an easy option. Moving to a higher level requires self-awareness, along with awareness of how you should fit into the bigger picture. It would require that people atone for their sins and work to make this a better place. That is neither fun nor easy. People at low levels are rarely willing to do the real work to get better. They think it will be painful, not understanding that living in the darkness is always much more painful than the alternative. So no, slavery isn't over, the Holocaust isn't over, the genocides and cultural cancers are not over. The past is played out day after day by those who have not been able to release their individual darkness and move forward. The collective culture is always the sum total of the individuals it includes. And right now, the collective culture is telling many at low levels that we aren't going to turn our heads and allow them to continue to infect the culture at large. The collective culture is making daily decisions about what raises or lowers our level of awareness. Sometimes the collective culture just can't support your mindset any longer. We are facing the truths about what has happened in our history, what we were not told, what was whitewashed. We are coming to the important realization that we cannot move forward without knowing where we came from and how we got here. People who have great pride in this country are not given to introspection about how ugly and heinous parts of our history are. This unwillingness to look at the whole picture leads to an unearned pride. It leads to a total lack of humility. People and countries without empathy and humility are operating at very low levels. But there are more people, by number, who are working from the middle grade levels through the highest grade levels on the planet right now. People who have integrity, people who are willing to see what is wrong and course correct. The fact that we currently have people from very low levels of spiritual awareness running the show should not blind us to the fact that there are more of us than there are of them. There are always more good people than bad people. The factor that determines our collective growth is who has the power and influence to push the agenda that aligns with their level of awareness. It is upsetting some people to see flags and statues being taken down in this moment of protest. Flags and statues are monuments to what we hold in high esteem. What we once held in high esteem no longer makes any sense now that we are collectively growing to a higher level. Removing them is an impactful way of stating our intent to no longer embrace what we do not believe to be right or esteemable. The conflict arises when there are still some who embrace the darkness that the monuments represent. We need to understand when we see wildly divergent ideas of what is going on, that everyone is seen through their current level of awareness. The collisions we witness societally are a magnified version of the angst and discomfort we feel personally when we're ready to move to a higher level. But just like people do on a personal level, there is a resistance to growth by those in society who feel compelled to hold on to the old ways out of fear. This is the dance we do. People from all different levels of understanding are working to either move things forward, keep everything exactly the same, or move backwards to a time that embraced the ideals that they are not ready to relinquish. There's a lot of pulling and pushing and digging in of heels. Lots of toes get stepped on in the process. Everyone's vision of the ideal is different, and what is ideal at one moment is no longer ideal days, weeks, months, or years from now. We will never get it right to the degree that we can stop changing and growing. That's why we're here. It is a climb that does not end. But each person who moves even one level up raises the collective culture, which is nothing more than the average of everyone in the school. We can't set our sights on those at the kindergarten level of spiritual awareness, achieving their master's degree. We just need to help them get to, say, maybe third grade level. I believe we are seeing that happen when people at the lower levels see others at or near their level doing what they do. It often sparks the recognition that they don't want to be identified with that group. They recognize that they can no longer be a part of what it represents. We need to be thrilled for every inch of movement. People can only truly hear those who are at or near their own level of understanding, so they are more likely to be moved by those near them than those who are way outside of their reach. Prophets sound like Charlie Brown's teacher to those at the low levels. They cannot be heard and understood, which makes them seem threatening and in need of being stopped. Take Jesus for an example. He was seen as dangerous and someone who needed to be silenced. And to this day, those at the low levels of understanding bastardize his teachings to cause harm to others, which of course was not the point of what he taught. Those at the low levels are astute at turning love into hate. So let's keep dancing, let's keep illuminating the light and dragging the darkness out into the light. It's perfectly fine to make people uncomfortable. Let's, as the saying goes, comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. The demand for change and equality is in the beginning stages. Let's get ready to keep it up until true and meaningful change is achieved. We're here for this exact reason. Thanks for listening to Rebirth Revolution. Your participation in the revolution is necessary and appreciated. If you have any questions, email us at rebirthrev@gmail.com or leave a comment on rebirthrevolution.com. Until next week, stay engaged. Remember that others don't have the luxury of tapping out. Be insistent that we all rise. And know that your help matters. Remember, you are loved exactly as much as every other person on the planet, not 1 ounce more or 1 ounce less. Stay safe, remain strong, and keep on dancing.